Mr. Suraj Cherukat. He is a business development and strategy and sales operations specialist with international experience in developing and implementing strategies to improve the operational performance. His core includes expertise in bringing transformational changes in capital equipment and heavy machinery in mining and aggregate construction industries. Today, Mr. Suraj will talk about quality of fine and coarse aggregates. So, delegates, let's welcome Mr. Suraj.
So basically, the point of discussion will be quality of fine and coarse aggregates. So basically we'll be going through aggregates, the different types, what are fine aggregates, coarse aggregates, what will be the quality parameters for the aggregates, then what will the quality of aggregates influence on the concrete property, then the grading of the concretes and the composition of the aggregates, and a few standards. So that is what we will be focusing on. So now when we come to aggregates and the types, aggregates are basically divided into fine and coarse. So anything below 4.75 mm are called as fine aggregates, which are basically like sand, dust, or what we call it as. So this is aggressively used for plastering purposes as well as for concreting purposes. When we look into coarse aggregates are those which are above 4.75 mm. So 4.75 mm means basically the bigger aggregates. It can be 6 mm, 10 mm, 12 mm, 20 mm, 40 mm and all, which are basically used in the process of construction activities. So fine aggregates are like details on the fine aggregates. The particles will be less than 4.75 and the smallest particle will be 75 micron as per the different standards. So these are used for various applications, mainly into construction of roads as well as in concrete. When we come into coarse aggregates, again, coarse aggregates as already being mentioned, the size will be above 75 micron, or sorry, above 4.75 micron to 6, 10, 12 and all these things. These will be also primarily used in concrete as well as for the road construction. When we look into the parameters, quality parameters of different materials, the major ones are grading, second one is durability, third is particle shape and surface structure, fourth one is abrasion and skid resistance, fifth one is the weight and the voids, sixth is absorption and surface moisture, lastly flakiness and elongation. So how the quality affects the quality of the concrete, that is of a big concern. The quality of the aggregates being used, on what way it affects the quality of the concrete. So more the quality being ensured for the components used, the life of the concrete goes on. Specific gravity. This specific gravity of any aggregate being used depends on how good it ensures the strength, how well it ensures the strength and the absorption capacity of the concrete. Chemical stability very much determines what will be the durability of the concrete which we are using. Now, there is better surface texture for the concrete. The bond grip between the cement being used and the aggregates used are better. Shape. Shape depends on two things. One is water demand. Second thing, the shape also determines amount of cement needed and the more strength of the material. So always shape of the fine aggregates and the coarse aggregates are a big concern for the crusher owners. Gradation. Gradation basically when we do a sieve analysis, how well the particles are being equally separated. That is of good concern. And the maximum sizes. And lastly, the deleterious materials, where if there are some impurities, all these things happen. When we look into different grades of concrete and the aggregate compositions, starting from M10 up to M45, which is being used in the market. So predominantly, the more purposes comes with M25, M30, and M35. So in these situations, the durability of the concrete is of high concern. The various standards which are being used, or the various standards in India, which very much determines the condition of the quality, are IS 2386 primarily. It is of 8 parts. 8 parts are not very relevant because it is very much depending upon the what particular concrete you are going to test. Otherwise, it's IS 2386 as well as IS 383. Where IS 383 very clearly defines, the latest version is 2016. It clearly defines what should be the different quality aspects for the fine aggregates that are being used for road construction, that are used for building constructions and all other infrastructural developments. The previous version was 1976, which was again reconstructed and revised in 2016. And currently, all the materials produced in various crushers and that being used for construction activities, the testing is being done using IS 383. Now, for the coarse aggregates, IS 2386. This is the standard which defines the usage for entire construction materials on coarse side. As per IS 383, for a sand or fine sand or we call it as plastering sand or concrete sand, this sand to be perfect, it is further divided into 4 zones: zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and zone 4. And the size starts from 0.75 micron. The very lesser is the 0.75 micron to 4.75. And always what is being done is the sieve analysis. Whenever any crusher manufactures a sand, the quality of the sand is ensured by doing a sieve analysis. And doing this sieve analysis, it has to be ensured that the distribution of different sizes, for example, it is being shown like 4.75, 2.36, 1.18, 600, 300, and 150 microns. This micron specification and the gap should be ensured exactly between these areas. And predominantly in Indian market, the zone 2 is the demandful zone for construction activities. Everybody wish to ensure that the sand which is being used, which is equally or better than river sand, it has to pass the zone 2 certification or zone 2 classification from a proven lab. Now it is again for the same IS for the 10 mm, 6 mm and all these things. Again IS 383. So IS 383 again is used for 20 mm aggregates. Now I wish to just bring a very small comparison. Nowadays people are predominantly depending on M sand when compared to river sand on the quality perspective, as well in few areas river sand is coming back. For example, Tamil Nadu and those areas, now river sand is again coming back. Few other states river sand is banned. So what is an exact separation or what is an exact apple to apple comparison between M sand and a river sand? M sand, as everybody knows, is a manufactured one. It is basically the dust which is being manufactured using two or three options. It can be from a corn crusher, it can be from a VSI, it can be from an HSI, or it can be produced from a roller crusher. This dust is properly classified and made into usable sand by the process of wet classification or dry classification, where the microfine elements are being removed using different equipments and brought into the particular segment of per the IS standard. Specifically, 75 microns below is normally removed from M sand, but then also it is applicable and permitted almost up to 15% as per the standard. But in river sand, it is only up to 3%. So that is one of the biggest advantage of river sand. But on the other things, it is almost matching to matching. Only the applicability is like you can have various vegetation materials, biodebris, and other things in the river sand, which can reduce the quality when compared to M sand. But as everyone know, the natural impact or on the environment is lesser when related to M sand over river sand. Hailstone, I just wanted to put some things about hailstone. We are predominantly into manufacturing of equipments that produces fine aggregates as well as coarse aggregates. So we manufacture jaw crusher, cone crusher, VSIs, and we are into total turnkey projects where we provide the solutions for converting the natural rocks in the quarry into more usable fine aggregates and coarse aggregates. Here, predominantly, we promote fixer shaft cone crusher, which is used in crushing of the bigger stones and manufacturing into coarser aggregates with the quality as required by the IS standards. The flakiness of the material is less, the durability is more, the surface structure is better. So we always promote EC series or fixer shaft cone crushers for the same. And next is the vertical shaft impactors, VSIs. Nowadays, if any project, for example, any road project or something being conducted by Ministry of Road Transport or Highways or NHAI standard, requires the material to be passed through VSI. This VSI, due to its special impact centrifugal action, converts the material perfectly into shaped material and ensures the durability and other parameters. So Hailstone also supports projects through VSI and cone crusher for coarser aggregates. And when it comes to fine aggregates, the specific target is to remove 75 micron below or 150 micron below. We have bucket wheel classifiers which remove 150 micron below and ensures that the sand is in the IS Zone 2 classification. Or again, we have another washing segment which is called as AdWash, which uses the hydrocyclone based washing mechanism, which thereby removes the 75 micron below item, and zone 2 is again achieved. So fine aggregates zone 2 classification predominantly by removing unwanted fines is ensured using these two equipments. So this is typically a 200 or a 250 TPH plant where the bigger rocks are converted and different products, all these products which is shown are perfectly shaped as per the standards. So this is just a walkthrough through our and this is the one which we have right now. Later we can more have a discuss in the question and answer section. Thank you.